Okay. Just to give some context. Yeah, I said it. I got cooked by Muonic 2 games before while he was playing GDF. Right. And the start of this game, the first one, wasn't fully recorded because the game ended up crashing on me after we completed this. So the start was corrupted. It's unfortunate, but so far I'm really enjoying the Veti balance patch. The start wasn't so great. I was trying to do something. I made 4 subjugators at the top there. After pretty much right away after 3 refinement altars, I'd probably go for 4 refinement altars in the war machine, but I wanted to get them out and start pressuring right away and come from an unexpected, less scoutable angle. It didn't fully work as I intended, though. You definitely need at least 5 subjugators. 4 wasn't cutting it. I also ran through the Tempest field, which slowed it down a little bit. I was kind of doing this build off the cuff, so you know it could use some refinements here. I'm really liking bringing the caretaker with me to force engagements. It seems like dynasties are all pretty greedy against Veti right now, and generally I feel like they could put on a lot more pressure in the early game than they are. Even if it sacrifices a little bit of economy, you also force reactions out of the Veti players. And I think Veti is able to contend a little bit better with Dynasty if they go greedy. Better than GDF. GDF kind of just rolls Veti right now, I think. I still have to test other builds, but like no matter what I did so far, it's been really difficult. But this is the problem with 4 subjugators. I barely managed to get it down 1 rig, and like you run out of ammo, you really can't out DPS the healing tool, and they're able to get reinforcements back. So it was highly unaffected. I would definitely go for 5, 6. Maybe you keep rallying more in as support, but getting out, you really don't want to bring the vehicles through the Tempest because it slows you down so much. Like I can't get those things away, and they're supposed to be value generators. Anyways, I know that I didn't get enough damage, and I'm kind of in a bad position, but he has his bases really split apart, so that if I get in between them, either I'm going to get crushed by attacks from both sides, or I'm going to interrupt his rally and make things extremely difficult for him. But either way, I come to the conclusion that I have to push, otherwise I'm dead. Right, so my rush didn't end up working. Right there I was thinking of maybe I just quit right now, go to the next game. But you know, luckily I believed in myself, and you know, decided to stick around. I was going to put out wall to help prevent crushes, but then the matchstick showed up, so I didn't have to worry about that. He doesn't have the security 4 upgrade that makes matchstick stronger and have longer range, so I was actually able to snipe those out pretty easily, especially at low numbers. It's you can ward them off. High numbers, it gets harder just because you don't have... Oh, I ran into the mines there like an idiot. Absolute like a 0 IQ play. Just give me a second. All right, I'm doing some playback, so I had to adjust the quality so I could see some. I'm floating a little bit here. That happens when you're just trying things off the cuff. Is that you tend to be thinking more about what you're trying to do and less about production and everything, right? And constant building. But you basically should always have a building on cooldown as Veti. I also delayed some of the... I didn't do my normal doctrine path on this route because I was being so aggressive. I would normally go for Shoot, I still don't know the I think it's subjugation 1, and I would go the third route, the right route. I think it's enlightenment, but that's usually the one with like the 5% building and faster build speed, or like less cost on a unit and buildings. But I skipped the subjugation 1 because I didn't think I would need seekers, or I would build seekers early and rely more on the subjugators. Didn't turn out very well. I could have probably used both. Finally I get enough units, but then the match 6, woof, they just annihilated those groups of acolytes, and it's so hard to split in this game. Like, there's delay. I could be also using the inline to set down our anchors. If in these push positions, if you anchor turrets for 20% HP and damage boost, it's very effective. You can also anchor like your building production too, to give your unit some experience. I don't find that as effective because it can get you a quicker level 1. But I think it's 16%. You need 33% XP to be able to go to level 1. You know, if you're taking into account the full veterancy route. So you get halfway to level 1 if you anchor a building, and I'm not sure that's worth it. It was a beautiful push. It made hit rallying for him very difficult, so I was able to be highly effective in terms of cost efficiency. So in the start, I'm doing the start a little bit suboptimally. I should be setting down the power plant, set down 1 anchor immediately, and then I should get the doctrines. Because the first doctrine that you get completes before it can be useful anyways, so delaying that's fine. And then getting down the anchor like fraction faster will save you like a 1/10 of a second or something. So it really doesn't matter, but like you should be striving for the optimal play if it costs you no attention to do it right, or waste time. So this time, I also want to be aggressive this game. Basically, I think Veti's strongest when you're being aggressive and you're expanding towards the opponent, because it seems like most factions will out-macro you pretty hard. And if they start split pushing or harassing multiple areas with their higher production rates and everything, it's really hard to properly respond to that. Plus, they can take garrisons along the way, which... if you're trying to use wardens to respond to harassment, it's ridiculous. There's no shot that you can do that without like sacrificing extreme amounts of your army. So instead, right, I've been kind of focusing on expanding towards the opponent, trying to force engagements, because Veti's strongest earlier in the game, where they can be efficient with the caretakers healing, and like with a stronger base location with turrets. So I make the war factory after the 3rd refinement altar. I think again 4th. I think generally from my experiences with these builds so far is that going to 3 refinement altars is kind of scary. It doesn't seem to be effective because you constantly run out of money, so you're slowing down your build anyway. Having a 4th one might really even that out. So I get a 4th refinement altar right away, because I'm not going to have a lot of things anchored. I'm not going, I think it's enlightenment on the right side of 3. Normally I would go with that for the 20% awakening boost, which gives you like a 4 extra tempest per anchored refinement center, and it adds up like eventually every 5 seconds. So about the 48 tempest per minute. I'm surprised the pillager just left, because it would have been pretty annoying if it stuck around. But I guess he was responding to the seeker that was in the garrison. Like, he saw it and he chose that he's going to get out his rigs there, and he doesn't want my units. He doesn't want my units getting in the way of his eco, so he can respond to the attack with more force. But the reason why I set up down here is because there's a garage right there, and I'm going to take the garage. I'm going to have repairs with for my vehicles, which is why I made. I'm still learning all the names of the building, but whatever produces the vehicles. Right, so I can heal right there, and I can take care of the infantry with the caretaker, which I don't really do. I should have did it more because I clearly had the capability to. I also made a turret because I thought he would push more, but look at this guy. He's been so greedy. He's like, there's buildings right outside my base. Who cares? What's it going to do to me? I'm just going to get out my rigs and then respond to it, but it does start getting sketchy right away. Right, I feel like under this circumstance I should have moved my caretaker a little bit close. I was getting kind of scared. Right, you need to keep your caretaker out of range of the SAM sites because you can't heal it like you can buildings. Right, it needs its own healing. It needs something to heal. I don't know if it counts as infantry. It should count as a vehicle, but you need a separate repair to heal it, which means if you focus it down, you'll eventually take it out. So you need to keep it out of combat, but you need to keep it close enough that you can build turrets in useful positions. And I also really like taking the light here, setting them into the caretakers so I can buff the turrets again with the anchors. Right now I'm buffing the refinement center because I really need the cash, right? Because more cash, more units, more stuff beats less stuff, even if it's more effective. Right, as soon as I set down the power plant, I should have picked up, moved a little bit closer, but he actually has quite a bit of havocs now, and that's kind of threatening. I noticed that my infantry's getting splashed. I started spreading them out, because infantry is going to be pretty decent against havocs. At least they're going to trade cost efficiently, as long as they're not all bunched up in a group. That turret actually ends up taking out quite a bit, and has me kind of scared. But if I had the caretaker healing, it would have been the infantry after I got the build radius. It would have been a little bit better. Look at how he built the bureau up front to apply Tempest debuff to my units, except for Wardens can't get Tempest debuffed, which means that it's actually just an expensive building that I can take out. I was scared that he was going to summon all the infantry, so I started making seekers, because you need seekers to respond to the infantry, because you kill them, you get enlightened. That can help your push be stronger, and I'm just trying to get value here. Like when units are almost dead, I pull them back to heal because I need to be cost efficient if I'm playing aggressively like this, to try to snowball the game in my favor. Right, relying on turrets to apply some damage and the anchors. He got a mechanist which shuts down buildings, so I was getting a little bit scared here. I thought that maybe he could kill it, but honestly, if he dived the caretaker with his havocs, killed that, he would have been in a much stronger position, right? Because this push I expected it to end a lot sooner, so I was slow with the doctrines, and I didn't know which way I wanted to go. If I wanted to go heavier on the arcing side, or if I wanted to go more on the, because spending 300 for consecrate, and like if you get the middle path, the third one on the middle path, you can teleport turrets up closer and be more in more threatening locations, and that also applies subjugation to the enemy, and it consecrates your units, so that can be super effective. Again, he has a bureau up front. I think that's just a mistake, having a bureau in a threatened location. Like, normally it's very good against most factions. It's not good against Veti, and it makes extremely tempting, expensive, long constructing building, right? So if you lose it, it takes a bunch of your build queue, and if you have to make it again, it's super expensive. I split off those 3 wardens to try to get some kills on vehicles that are spawning and everything, but wardens without support kind of suck. They're tanky for sure, like they're threatening and they require attention, but they don't do much on their own, right? They're just kind of there being, you know, a nuisance, a minor nuisance. It has to be cleaned up eventually, and he does later. But those mechanists are what's really scaring me. I try to keep my unit split to minimize splash, but I ended up getting the 3rd path down because that gives a 20% bonus towards the turrets, so they do 24% more damage, and they have 1240 health instead of 1200. So not massive change, but but like every little bit can help. But I think I would have rather been able to more freely consecrate my units and subjugate the enemies with and take some of those turrets that are in the back, move them forward to be more threatening. And then I can inch forward, base crawl with the turret. But each one of those would have cost 300 instead of 500, which is more affordable, especially if it's buffing up my units. The healing on the right path, the 3rd right path, is really good though for the push position, which is what I do. I don't hate it, especially considering the position in the game. But when I already have a garage, it feels a little bit wasted, right? Especially because I already went 2 in the middle path. Going to a 3rd in the middle path wouldn't have taken that long, and I could have leveraged that a lot sooner. But lower unit counts are low for both of us. But the caretaker should be a huge target. Like if he cleared that out, he wouldn't be dealing with the repair radius. He would have had to deal with less of the building, like the building creep forward. Right, and it would have made the game a little bit easier. That's why I think teleport's a little bit better. If you get a power plant down, you can build power plants forward, or you can teleport them forward, as well as the turrets. Even if you lose the caretaker, without having to spend like tons of money unnecessarily on power plants to inch forward. Right, when you could be using your build queue for something else better, like refinement altars. It's still all a work in progress, so I don't think subjugation is that worth it. You can buff consecration by 50%. That's pretty good. And if you're going that path, down the middle path, I'd probably recommend going consecration, the 50% consecration buff, because you're already using the teleport to buff your units in that case. But that's not this game. We've just been trading super efficiently against all the Havocs and everything. I don't think Havocs are a really great answer. They're decent against the Wardens, but they're not a unit that really scales well by themselves. I liked the Tech 2 into the Boars. Maybe a salvage van, because Veti doesn't have a lot of great DPS. So if you have healing with your army, then all of a sudden it's tanky units versus tanky units, except for your tanky units like the Boars and stuff are giving you money. This map's a little bit weird because you can't reach the Tempest field with your Resurrection Altar, which is stupid, the build radius. So you have to move your caretaker back to cover it. With both Dynasty and GDF, it's safe to make a engineer right away to go straight to the top. Straight to the top TPC to capture it, and you want it for the Enlightened, but I don't know if it's safe with Veti. It might be. What I like about Veti is you can continually, as long as you keep it within anchors, you can move the barracks as far forward as you want, which is not something you can do with Dynasty or GDF without giving something up. GDF, you give up comms radius that could be by your Yeah, by your harvesters. While Dynasty, you push your barracks away from the a generator that you could use, right? Which slows down your initial unit production specifically, which can be a little bit harsh. Because the more important building is the machine shop in this case, right? But Veti, you can just put things as long as they're within range of the anchor, which is usually not a problem. It's all okay. So right here, I'm moving my caretaker forward. I need to wait till the building starts before I pack up my caretaker, so I'm fighting like a little bit ahead, but I lose some units unnecessarily. Because of that, I built a couple of the shoot. What are the guys with the discs that look like they're carrying a briefcase? Acolytes, I think they're called. I built a couple of acolytes because I didn't know if he was going to go pillager to hold the middle. But I'm going to wait till the refinement altar is done. I pack up the caretaker. I get the healing. I have the anchors. And then I'm free to just move forward because I healed my units. I can start the shoot. I missed what it's called, the factory, and then I can move forward. I think if I set down, I don't know. It's tough to say to set down a generator first because it's a little bit late. I mean, you sacrifice eco for it, but in this case, it might have helped me compete for the middle faster, and then I could have gotten my commissar. I forget what it is. It's not a commissar, is it? No. Whatever, the engineer into the TPC quicker and taking the middle with the healing for the forward push. By the way, Muonic chose this map. He wanted to play on this one. I think this one's pretty hard for Dynasty because, as you see, I have better tools to push in the middle, and this really focuses the engagements in one area, which I think are both positive aspects for Veti. Because I think Veti struggles with multiple location harassment or pressure. Since your units are so small, you have to. I think on those maps you have to rely more on subjugators, but subjugators are also not great attacking units. Particularly against infantry and seekers. They can do well against unintended infantry, but seekers also, I find they blow. They're good if they are attacking things that aren't moving, but they're expensive. They're slow. They have low range, right? If you can kite them. They take a long time to build. They're very susceptible to AoE. Probably out of all the infantry, they're probably the most susceptible because they don't have a long range. So if you split them up, they always try to group up. But I think that's where the Veti is most weak right now, is the Seekers. Right, so if you go a bunch of subjugators, you don't have a lot of good answers to infantry, right? And that's why most people rely on wardens and the warden's arcing perk to cause mass AoE damage. I'm using caretaker to take down the TPC because I wasn't confident that I could walk up the hill and kill his stuff, right? Because there's 2 garrisons there. Maybe I could have scouted it out. But I feel like if I hold the middle here, I'm already in like a decent spot. And if I take out the TPC, that can be a little bit annoying because it hurts their capability to dynamo or speed up their production and lowers their eco a little bit. I don't find killing TPCs worthwhile if you can do real harvester damage. I think the TPCs are only worthwhile the damage if you get pushed away from dealing real damage. I think the same case is in Kane's Wrath, because it takes a full minute to get 750 on a TPC, like a 750 Tempest, and that's one trip. One trip from a harvester is about 20 seconds, like a GDF harvester, and in that time, sorry. Right, in that time, so you in 1 minute, TPC is giving you less than 20 seconds of a harvester, right? So if you kill a harvester, especially GDF, when that generally go low harvester counts because it takes them a little bit to expand, killing one can hurt their eco by quite a bit. So if you get one, I think about 2 or 3 is when you really start feeling the impact that your eco damage is doing. But if you can't find eco damage, then you pull off and go for TPCs. Like, killing a TPC is better than nothing. It's a little bit annoying, but I mean, GDF is probably the least impacted by energy, the loss of the energy and the loss of the TPC itself. He's going MLRS, which actually are super annoying because my units are about as slow as those units, so I can never catch up to them. Maybe I go a lot of subjugators, but I also don't split correctly against them and end up losing a lot. Right, the board tanks do pretty well, but at this point, probably losing the middle has really delayed everything they had. But he needs healing. I would have probably, I liked his Tech 2 choice. I like what he went, but he needed healing for the boars. I think salvage van would have done amazing on his side. I tried going a luminary to get the faster move speed to catch up onto the MLRS. I also like it for the sacrifice ability and the healing it can provide. But again, a caretaker at the front with the army provides massive boost to your army. In terms of longevity, especially with how bulky the units are, and because his units are burst, he can get a lot of kills, but I'm healing in between too, and I can really keep up the pressure on his rigs. I should have been targeting the rigs because they just killed all my units just killed all his seekers, or no, not seekers, the crawlers. The little wheelies. I think they're officially called wheelies, but crawler sounds better, in my opinion. Okay, right. I want to kill the production. I want to kill his rigs. Honestly, he should have probably packed up a couple of rigs as soon as he was losing base here, to try to get them out, and then he can move them down to the northern side of the map because he's out of money 100%, and I'm not built. I should have built turrets up by where my refinement altar is and with the caretaker in that area to defend it more. But if he was going to lose these rigs, he needed to start expanding on the north side. Regrowth protocol is nice. If you live as Veti against GDF, it's because of your support powers. But it also makes you feel very susceptible to... it makes you very susceptible to getting your support powers baited, and then you feel so weak once they're gone. You're basically stalling to try to get something to compete with the GDF army. But he's picked a good amount of my units. If we were at even economy, I'd be in deep trouble because of how many kills his MLRS have managed to get. But he decides that he has no more eco